We often hear that humans have discovered more about space than our ocean's depths. Do you believe the self-proclaimed fact? How would they know that it's just 5% that is discovered? Raises many questions. We recently got a picture of a black hole, and they did gain a large amount of publicity. Numerous places and things are waiting to be explored in the universe. Warp drive, the ability to travel faster than light, was believed to be science fiction until researchers funded by DARPA accidentally discovered the first warp bubble. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel today. Let's unfold everything that there is about a warp bubble and its discovery of it. If there was any vehicle able to travel at the speed of light, would you ever buy one? Let us know in the comment sections below. From faraway galaxies and distant exoplanets that can sustain and host intelligent life, to bright stars and massive black holes, humans are yet to discover and unravel a lot of things. On one side we have Elon Musk planning to create a settlement on Mars, whereas NASA is looking forward to sending astronauts there. However, it is not an easy drive there. We would spend a whopping 5 months in total to reach Mars after battling a grueling trip that the space holds. As we said, warp drive is the ability that lets you travel faster than light. LS discovered it, or Limitless Space Institute, led by former NASA warp drive Dr. Harold G. Sonny White. He went on to say that their findings of the warp bubble analog is real, albeit humble and tiny. Star Trek fans wouldn't find warp travel strange, as they have seen it a lot in this franchise with its charming technology since its first episode back in 1966. A universe is a strange place and unimaginable while being vast. The immense cosmic distance will create an unthinkable barrier if you plan on visiting the next star. Proxima Centauri is the next star, and this is 4.5 billion light-years away. If you can attain light speed, this distance would take 4.5 years to reach here while going through at full cosmic speed. If we use the fastest space probe ever built, this interstellar void will take us nearly 8,000 years to travel this distance. However, the Star Trek crew found a way to make long-distance travel possible by shortening the distance. The torsion engine would use warp drive technology by juggling space and time. Warp drive was designed to remain in imagination, but that was only until the last century when physicist Miguel Alcubierre came up with a theory that would change the scientific community. In 1994, Alcubierre was doing his research on Einstein's general theory of relativity, where heavy masses were able to curve space and time. This allowed Alcubierre to pick up what Einstein had started and continue with his calculations. He laid the foundation for an article that would appear in a science magazine. Alcubierre described in his paper how he could compress space and time in front of a spacecraft and stretch it behind the ship. This would enable us to travel smaller distances and reach the desired destination safely. They would be trapped in a torsion bubble, and if you were to visualize this concept, it would be comparable to a surfer riding a wave. However, Alcubierre's warp bubble had a problem. The warp engine is tough to build in reality, as you can't just curve space forcibly with the help of a normal mass. You would need exotic matter which has negative gravity. Though dozens of warp engine publications have come out in the decades, everything remained theoretical exercises and thought experiments that they could manipulate the formations of the theory of relativity. While everyone was searching for new insights, the need for foreign matters remained on top of the list, until Eric Lentz, a physicist at the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory in the US, had stepped in. He had watched Star Trek as a kid, but he had not been able to forget about this warp drive and has been wondering how to bring the special machine to life. Let's first read Alcubierre's professional article when he was a teen. He found it interesting as he didn't understand much of it. However, he continued to read warp drive publications long after he had begun his journey as a physicist. He even had some time to spare during the COVID lockdown and returned to his old interests. That was when he realized that everyone had missed out on something in this article. Alcubierre was researching the simplest possible solution that formulated the theory of relativity. This solution would result in Alcubierre's engine, a warp bubble powered by a huge amount of negative gravity. Eric Lentz then decided to try some of the more unusual mathematical ways and realized that he was able to solve these formulas with the help of these unusual methods. In the torsion bubble obtained by Eric Lentz, the mass was placed where the curvature was at its greatest, but what was more important was that you could make this bubble with ordinary everyday things. You wouldn't need an ounce of Stranger Things. Eric Lentz was so surprised that no one had tried this earlier. Although the engine Eric Lentz made was more practical than Alcubierre's engine, you would still require a huge mass that is easily 1,000 times smaller than the Sun but holds more weight than the Sun. Warp bubbles could be tested as a concept that could never happen in real life. However, a complete change of discovery is fueling interest in the War of the Bubbles once again. Research funded by DARPA and NASA's Johnson Space Center may have accidentally discovered the build of a warp drive engine. Sonny White is a NASA researcher at the Eagle Works laboratory in Houston, Texas, and published a research paper with his team in July about the possible structure of the energy density present in the Casimir cavity. As per reports, the Eagle Works team came across a micro-nanoscale system that could predict negative energy density distribution that closely matched requirement for the Alcubierre metric. In other words, White and his colleagues accidentally created a microscopic experiment while researching how energy is distributed around wavelengths, a theory that was developed by Dutch physicist Hendrik Casimir. This experiment resulted in enough theoretical energy to achieve warp speed. In an interview, Sonny White explained that the detailed numerical analysis of the team's custom cavities helped them to identify a real and manufacturable nanomicrostructure that was predicted to generate a negative vacuum energy density to manifest a real nanoscale warp bubble and not as an analog. Yet the real thing meant that a warp bubble structure would manifest under these conditions. White was also aware of Alcubierre's proposed mathematical valid solution to the warp drive, and that it could traverse the cosmos above the speed of light without violating the current accepted laws of physics. He was also aware of how the solution had been derived for its use of theoretical material and massive amounts of energy that had appeared virtually impossible to engineer practically. However, Sonny White reworked Alcubierre's original metric and put it into canonical form. This change in design dramatically reduced the original concept of exotic materials and energy requirements. This reworked concept provided researchers and sci-fi fans at least a glimmer of hope that a real-work warp drive may one day be a reality. When Sonny White began his latest DARPA-funded research and tried converting it into custom Casimir cavities, a unique microscale structure with all types of promising applications, he hadn't expected to stumble upon this potentially historic discovery. This one supported a theoretical concept that Casimir cavities have often outshined, and the compelling quantum scale forces are in no way related to warp drive theory of mechanics, or at least they have been before. White said that it works, he and his team at LSI are passionate about it, and DARPA also believe that there are several possible applications. Whether by pure coincidence or some personal destiny, it appears that one of the handfuls of engineers on the planet would immediately know what it was that they were looking at while conducting the Casimir cavity research. They were all at the right place at the right time, and they noticed a striking similarity between the warp drive project and the current research. When the team published their findings, it became the first ever paper in the peer-reviewed literature that could propose a realizable nanostructure predicted to manifest a real warp bubble. This fortuitous finding not only confirms the predicted tordial structure and negative energy, but also results in potential pathways that White and other researchers could follow. White believes that it is a matter of time before his mini-warp craft can be designed and tested by him or another researcher. Sonny White says this doesn't mean we are near building a fully functioning warp drive, as much more science needs to be done. There is at least a glimmer of hope that humanity one day could be zapping through the cosmos. Let us know what you think about this in the comments section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.